Hi there, it's Kevin with Rogue Deck Builder, here with kind of a ranty, somewhat serious video. Just readdressing how I feel about Magic the Gathering in 2022, especially after the 30-year anniversary announcement for the $1,000 proxies and kind of the backlash, the community. It seems like everyone is united on hating this product, and it's just it just gives you such a queasy feeling of the direction that Magic is headed. And I was actually watching some old videos. I'm watching some of the old tournament videos that they used to produce, that Wizards used to produce, and kind of the whole like 2015 Vegas scene, and just how much energy there was back then. And again, I'm going to collect my thoughts and actually have a video that addresses this more. I think that's where I'm going to more focus on this channel. Is I don't want to go anywhere. Like this is my livelihood at this point. I have spent countless of hours building a brand. I know I've been very absent on the YouTube end of things, but I've still done this kind of behind the scenes with my local game store and my Discord community. Would I have a subscription service where I allow people to buy products at cost, which I think I've made a lot of good friends over the years, shared a lot of good memories. Same things with all the events that I have attended. Good old days with the Gathering Magic, the Rogue Deck Builder days. Like Magic has meant a lot to me. This community has meant a lot to me. I've got a lot out of it. And it's just this past year has just taken the wind out of my sails, where it's so hard for me to get motivated, even to look at new spoilers. I used to do like top 10 videos of cards that I'm like looking forward to brew. And it's just because of how fast that they've released these products, these secret layers, these proxy things. And I know for me, it was kind of Infinity being the final straw of where it affects Pauper and Legacy and Commander with these weird sticker cards. And it's like, what in the world? Where are they going with this? What is the point? What is their end game with Magic? And it's one of those things where if it's not broken, why try to fix it? They had 30 years of, I would even say all the way up to at least 2020, they had this business model that worked, where they had this very strict release schedule, where, I mean, it was okay with them pushing the envelope and releasing more products. I think that now we've been oversaturated with every set release having Commander products, for example. There are a lot of bad decisions that I think inevitably you're going to crash the market under with even those decisions. And on top of that, with the secret layers now, and with the just overprinting in general, with master sets coming out too quickly, where everyone just has wallet fatigue. Everyone is, I had a commenter tell me that, that they can't even get excited now because Dominaria came out. Oh, cool, let's build with Dominaria cards. And within weeks, oh, now Warhammer's out. Oh, now we need to build a Warhammer commander. Oh, let's try this Infinity. Oh, Brothers War's coming out? Oh, wait, didn't we just open double masters? I drafted it one time? I wanted to get more of an experience. It used to be when they had this strict schedule where you would be able to enjoy things, especially when they're the block format, because those blocks kind of built on each other. The anticipation of finally completing the block, it's like, okay, we got a taste of it, here's the next set. I think that really helped cultivate the excitement. The storyline was intertwined with it. Now, I haven't been a fan of the Magic Gathering storyline for a long time, but at least it had like a really straightforward way of doing things, with events, with Grand Prix, with all these things that coincided with this really good schedule. And now it's been mentioned over and over that we are constantly just in spoiler season. It's like the dopamine hits just boom, 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 boom. Look at this new shiny card. Look at this new way of their printing stuff. Oh, we just had this new etched treatment. Let's try this new kind of the cold foiling treatment of these other cards. Oh, now we're gonna do a Galaxy Fools. Oh, how about this extended art? It's just gotten so overwhelming for people to try to keep up with the Magic the Gathering product. And again, I'm going to collect my thoughts better and actually do a more sit-down, serious reflection of what I am feeling right now with the Magic the Gathering as a product, with gaming as a product, and we're entering into a recession. There's a lot of just really crazy uncertainty right now, and it's just left a bad taste, I think, in everybody's mouth. And I'm hoping that we can survive this. We've had these ebbs and flows in Magic before, and it's always come back with a bang. I mean, my goal is always to cultivate a community. I always want to be part of something where, gaming is kind of like my bowling night. It's my social life. I actually get together with friends, play games, and that's my way to kind of unwind. And I think what became a little more frustrated, especially as the content is concerned, is when you actually create your hobby as a job, and then you feel pressured to then continue to create, continue to push out stuff, even shill product when you don't want to because your livelihood depends on it, then this last year has just been one big blah for me. And so I don't know. I'm at a crossroads. I need to make a decision where I want to go with this, whether I want to, revive the channel and actually just, hunker down, create content based upon things that I enjoy, whether it be Magic the Gathering or the other games, and see if people, actually want to view and watch that, if they still want to be part of my little online community of my, my Patreon or my Discord, and see if that actually works, or, maybe start looking for other things, another chapter in my life being turned. So I don't know, there's a lot of sadness just actually talking about this subject, because it's just like I mentioned, I've spent the last decade doing this, and really there's definitely regrets. There's definitely things I could have done better. I feel very regretful with this channel, with letting it kind of die. As after, I don't know, a couple of years back, that's when I really started focusing more on the local scene rather than the YouTube part of things. And I'm actually kind of feeling like I kind of made the wrong decision there, because I think it's going to be very, very tough for retail going forward. And it's just, again, those dopamine hits, those are just too much for players, that they're just going to be, too drunk on it, that it's going to go through toxicity of it, to where now nothing will feel special or new or exciting. And then I think that we're going to have dwindling player bases. And it's just a time that with all the other economic stuff too, it just really, really sucks to be in retail at this moment. So anyway, let me do the purpose of this video. This is a little bit of a shill video, because I do want to, of course, introduce people to my Patreon, which has been successful up to this point. I have a little bit of this motivated because I have lost a ton. I've lost about 30 patrons in the last few months, and all of them have quit based upon what I mentioned here, that the game just got so overwhelming that they just don't want to be part of Magic the Gathering now. There's a guy in our community that he's cold turkey to everything, and he has sponsored every Magic the Gathering channel under the sun. He has been probably the biggest sugar daddy to all of us content creators to motivate us and to keep us going. He was the person that convinced me to create a Patreon and continue to push out content. I remember when I was fired or let go from Gathering Magic, he DM'd me and said, "Kevin, just do your own thing. I will I'll help you get to the point where you can support yourself, and I'll be your first patron and whatnot." And when you see someone like him completely quit the game when he's invested so much time and energy into it, is just a huge warning sign. So I don't know, I think we all need a breather from Magic the Gathering, and that's what this video is about. And I hope you enjoy what I have to say about these products, why I specifically enjoy these products. And if you are interested in this, I do have a strict policy of only selling to patrons. I do this for a couple of reasons. One is just protection. I've been scammed before. I don't like using sites to sell product because there's huge fees associated with it. And what I mentioned before, we are entering into a phase where you don't want a lot of overhead. You don't want a lot of capital. I have been, these past 3, 4, 5 sets, I've lost money on as a store. We haven't been able to make money on them. Not only have we not been able to make money on them, but we've lost money on, I would say, the last 4 or 5 sets. I think Kamigawa and Double Masters were the only profitable ones. We lost money on Baldur's Gate, New Capenna, Infinity. All of those things have not been profitable because there's not been enough time before things just get crashed, and you see prices go down on the Amazons, the TG players, to below where we can actually sell it for to make not just any profit. We take a loss at that point, and it just hasn't been sustainable. So I think I'm going to try to go back to this more online community, focus heavily on that, where with my Patreon service, how it works is it's money up front. That way there is a little bit of delay. You pay me, I order, and then I ship your product, and we both save money. So I save on not having to get feed to death on the Amazons and the TCG players, and you save money because it will be at distributor cost. So it's basically like owning your own store is what it's like to be part of my Patreon. So had a lot of patrons for 3, 4 years. I hope they're very happy with the service. Again, I apologize to everyone that I've let down by not producing as much content, just being run ragged. But 2022 has just been one sucker punch after the other, and it's been tough. So if you have a local game store, though, go give them a nice big hug and say, this kind of sucks, the situation that WotC's been putting in. I mean, WotC's giving everyone a 30-year anniversary. They're basically giving all stores $1,000. They're giving everyone a 30th anniversary thing. But I mean, I would rather Wizards allow me to make money on Dominaria then give me these specialty products. Give me 2 Warhammer Collector's Edition that I was able to make like a couple $100 off of. Is all. I mean, in the retail aspect of things, I mean, the gross margins are pathetic with how WotC has taken away their MSRP, and they've just really blown things out on Amazon as well as distributors, and then just really crashed the prices on that. And I'm gonna have a market video showcasing that too, on how crazy the prices are lately for Magic the Gathering products. There's so many of them right now that are under distributor price. Things like Kaldheim Collector's Editions, all the way to New Capenna Collector's Edition, Baldur's Gate. I'm expecting Dominaria and Infinity to be blown out soon, because I think that's Wizards' kind of new motto, is they just want to go either more direct to consumer with their secret layers to make that really big buck, or they have just such massive profit margins on things like this, like a Double Masters, where it probably costs them very, very little, maybe like $15 to create this product, and they sell it for to distributors for like $200, and then distributors pass it on to. I mean, they just make a killing off of this. So if they do have to blow it out, they could blow it out for 30 and still make good margins. They can still make a full 50% markup for selling something like 30 if their cost was 15 to produce it out the door. So I think that's their new business model that they're kind of hiding from us, is they've really pushed these specialty printings and stuff to eke out as much money and just make massive margins when they can, and then just, who cares, we'll just blow it all out. But the thing is, they're going to kill distributors, and they're going to kill local game stores in the process. And then I think that's going to have a huge impact on the game as a whole going forward. And heard all the excuses, late stage capitalism, blah blah blah. Well, I don't think that's exactly how it works. I think that companies that do, Pepsi doesn't try to go direct to consumer or blow things out. They understand their strategic partners, and they make it sure that all of their vendors have the ability to make money, so they keep them alive, so then they could actually sell their product later on. So all the places that gather, that all the restaurants, all the event centers and stuff like that, they can make a profit off their product. And I think Wizards needs to take a step back and say, hey, how much do we actually value these stores, and how much of it should we put the burden on them to quote unquote overcharge their customers? Because when customers come in, it's a huge feel bad scenario when they pay $250 for a product and then they go on Amazon and see it for $187 or something. And then of course stores can't actually do that because that's the cost they paid for it, and it's just a lose-lose situation for everyone. Anyway, you've been staring at a blank screen with my hands going everywhere, with me just rambling. Again, I need to really get my thoughts collected and do a really sit-down video with everyone talking exactly how I feel about this industry. I think I do have a unique perspective. I think there are very few people that have been in this side of the industry as someone that played on the competitive circuit, someone that was sponsored by a big company at one point, and then someone from the ground up built their local game store. I don't know. I think I do add like a unique perspective on this game. But anyway, I've rambled. Let me talk about 3 products. This is a deal that I'm going to give patrons. This one's not the greatest deal. I'm going to be doing some things called just specials. I need to get rid of a lot of inventory because I suffered from the FOMO. One of the things with the pandemic, when everyone had all that excess money, is you couldn't get product, and I felt like I missed out on a lot of potential profit. And so when I had the ability to buy product, I really went overboard. And like I said, these last 3, 4, 5 sets have just been a killer to my bottom line. And I have a lot of excess. So again, don't worry about me. I'm still doing great shape financially. It's just that I have way too much product that needs to be moved. So I'll try to pass the savings on to you. Again, everything is near TCG market price. You buy from me, you save the difference of what it would cost for me to actually put on there and get feed. And I think these are great products. I'm not just shilling them because I have excess of them. I think it's a great break. I think we all need a breather from Magic the Gathering. I think it'd be fun to, one of the things too with this is playing these other games actually makes you appreciate Magic. So these are fun games, but they also do make you appreciate Magic the Gathering. So, wow, long-winded. Hope everyone's still with me. This is my non-MTG intro package, I guess, to some games that I still actively play, that I have played, that I know how to play, that I enjoy, that I think are very similar to Magic, but different enough that I think will give you a little bit of respite from a Magic and a little bit of break, and you can experience these things. The first one is Flesh and Blood. This game's a great game. It's definitely passed the test of time. This is a great product to get into Flesh and Blood. This is their best product they've ever created. This is the Classic Battles Rhinar versus Dorinthia. So this came from their first set, Welcome to Wraith. And it's two of the more of the straightforward heroes. So Rhinar is kind of like your mono green Stompy. It tries to go really big over the top with attacks. And Dorinthia is combat tricks. Combat tricks, combat tricks, combat tricks. So you got to think of it kind of like a red deck with combat tricks. And they're both really fun to play against each other. Pretty balanced with these decks to play against each other. And they do have some specific foils in here. So what I have up here, I have it sleeved up here is the Rhinar deck. I think it's all shuffled up, but see if these sleeves don't pick up the best here. But you do get these foil treatments on the only way to get these are the Classic Battles. So you do get your equipments that work, and your weapon that works, and then your hero as well as foiled. And then you have a ready to go 60 card deck that is upgradable and it's a very good intro to the game. So yeah, I've actually played this. This is what I use to teach customers how to play Flesh and Blood. I really wish, again, we're in just a huge lull here in my local area where I think everyone's just been stretched so thin with product buys, and again, I think we're really coming off of the all of the overspending during the pandemic, where people were bored and then they got their fill of this sort of stuff, and now we're seeing people that are just A, wallet fatigued to death, and B, they've kind of got their feel with this sort of stuff, and times are actually getting quite serious. So anyway, what I got these sleeved in here is some Dragon Shields and a Boulder from Ultimate Guard. This is a Boulder 40, I believe, and these are also available. That's one of the things with my Patreon, is it's not just that's what I try to differentiate myself from all these other services out there, is basically anything that I can get from distributors, whether it be board games all the way to accessories. And you'd be surprised at some things that I'm non-collectible card games I can often get. And I try to work with everyone. You get direct contact with me to message me. And again, it's basically a you scratch my back, I scratch your back operation, where I save money, you save money. It's all good. It keeps my business afloat. I like it because I like knowing that I have this residual income in. It gives me freedom to do stuff. I don't have to over order stuff and hope a product sells. And it's just, in my opinion, a lot better way to do business. So anyway, back to it. Classic Battles, Rhinar versus Dorinthia. I believe these are TCG playering for $35 to $40 a pop for this. So it's a pretty good deal for two decks. The next one is going to be Metazoo, and there's going to be two of these. So this is my favorite set released from Metazoo. This is called the Cryptid Nation. I think the cards in here are a lot more... I played a few of the other sets, and this has been my favorite experience is the Cryptid Nation. So this is 2 release event boxes, so you can play it with your buddy, and he'll have all the rules in here, and this will be everything you need to get going. My only complaint about Metazoo's release event boxes is the same I've been complaining about Pokemon, is actually there's very few cards that you get the seeded pack in the release event box. It'll have a color or a scheme in here. So this was my release event box, was it was a water, no it wasn't, it was this Ghost was the type, but also used the Frost and Ghost. And I think I only added a few cards from the booster packs. So you get a couple booster packs in here, you get a seeded pack, very similar to Pokemon, and it's everything you need to get going. Metazoo is very similar to, I would say it's very similar to Unfinity, a way of playing. There are some jokey cards in here. So there's some acorn cards that are not supposed to be played in tournament play, like if you're wearing camouflage, this deer can't be blocked. And stuff like that. There's some cutesy things in here, but this is everything you need to go to experience a card game that I think is actually well done. It does kind of feel like a Magic ripoff, but it will give you a little bit of respite again from Magic. It's something I don't think requires a huge investment. It's fun to play. It's a lot of people actually like this game. It's another game that has survived the test of time. It's been struggling a little bit recently with like overprinting. Everything just went ham during the pandemic. I think everyone overprinted because there was just so much excess money and so much excess boredom, and that just had to come back to. I mean, that's what we have, kind of the double whammy of coming off of COVID, to where people were locked up, nothing to do, bored, had excess money, all the money, A, that came from, stimulus checks, and B, came from not eating out, not going traveling. All that stuff just got filtered into hobbies, and everything went through the roof, and Metazoo is no exception. So I think they've had to come back down on what they have been able, what the market actually does want and what their player base does want. So you also get these packs in here, and there's some cool cards in here. There's some neat little foiling. So it's another interesting game. I tried to show those games are very similar to Magic because, of course, that's what people have been here on this channel for, is to see Magic content. But you also get kind of the feel about brewing with this, or it's all about figure out what goes good in your deck. These decks are highly upgradable. It gives you a good starting point. And 2 kits. These kits go for like $10 or $11 on TCG Player, which again is exactly what they cost for distributor pricing. So you can kind of see like I'm losing money on these suckers. So I think at one point these were all the way up to $13 a pop. I had to pay for them, and then people are blowing them out for $10. But I like Metazoo. I think it's another great game if you want to try something besides Magic. And yeah, there you have it. So lastly, this is what I've actually been really enjoying is Pokemon. So I've never been able to find a sweet spot for Pokemon. What I've said before about Pokemon is if you get an intro, like if you just get one Build and Battle Stadium, or a pre-release kit, this is basically, Build and Battle is like what they use for event pre-releases. If you get one of them, there are not enough cards to really make it work. And 40 cards is weird in Pokemon, because a lot of times you end up just milling yourself and losing the game that way. So I think you need a 60 card deck if you're actually going to be playing. So this whole pre-release experience is miserable. And then on the high-end side of stuff is they have so many ways to reduce variance in Pokemon that when you build an actual competitive deck, it almost feels like playing Legacy, where everything is so tuned that the games play out the exact same every time. And yes, people might enjoy that. I don't. I like a little bit where I don't have to play these highly powerful cards, where I can play a mix of cards. That's my biggest complaint about Pokemon, is the vast majority of cards. And people can say that about Magic, but the power level between a common in Magic to a mythic in Magic is oftentimes not that huge. The difference in power level between like a V-Star and just a regular Pokemon is horrendous. It's so it's basically you have to play with these specifically high-powered cards in Pokemon. And I think what happens when you use a Build and Battle Stadium is you actually get to play with cards that are not that great. But you also don't have the miserable experience of having the 40 card deck where it ends up being where who gets their energy attached to their Pokemon wins. Like that's how miserable just one of these is. So the sweet spot is to do an entire Build and Battle Stadium. So this does come enough for 2 players. I highly suggest you actually get 2 of these, and each player builds a deck out of the build. So we have a league going on here at Gone Rogue Games. It's been quite fun. There have been some cool, neat little interactions. You get enough to build a good deck. So I've showcased mine on my Gone Rogue Games channel. End up here with a Psychic one that ended up having some cool cards with the Gengars, which I would never ever see play in any sort of. You feel like you have enough trainers with a whole Build and Battle Stadium. You got Ultra Balls and stuff that are needed, and this is enough to give you an experience on how to play Pokemon. And you never know, you might actually enjoy this game. I've had some Magic players recently switch over to Pokemon because again, it's something that's fresh. It's something where they still seem like they have like a set schedule. Nothing. You don't have to worry about something wonky coming. I know they release things like Champion's Path or Pokemon Go, but it hasn't come to the point where there's like secret layers for Pokemon. And I mean, usually their box sets will just have booster packs in it, and it's really fun to collect. If you are nostalgic from this time period, you get that from it. But I actually find it quite enjoyable. It does scratch that kind of brewer's itch of deck tuning and seeing what I can make out of a limited product. Again, I am a limited. It's funny how I made the channel Rogue Deck Builder about, kind of brewing wonky decks, when at heart I was a limited player from the beginning for Magic the Gathering, which I still enjoy for Magic. It's just... And I wish they'd go back to focusing. I wish we get some GPs that were limited and things like that. I think those were really, really fun days back in the day to experience those, or pre-releases and drafts and things that rarely get people excited anymore. So there you have it. So I think Build and Battle Stadiums go for about 40 on TCG Player. So, and these are all like 10 or 11. And this is 35. So it's about $100 for everything. And I'm going to sell these things for $90 to patrons. So this is kind of my intro. One thing too on my Patreon is you have limits, tier limits of how it works is you got to pick a a tier of how many products you think you're going to want per month, and then that's how much you pay me. So my intro level is $10. You get 2 products. Pretty simple. 2 products, you pick them, I ship them to you, and then it starts scaling up from there. So typically, like, this would count against the tier limits, but with these specials, these intro things, they're not going to count. All I have to be is a patron. I don't care what level, and then you have access to buy these sort of products. Like I said, it's good for me. It helps me to free up some inventory, and recoup some capital so I can start investing in other things where I think there are going to be some crazy deals coming on with Magic the Gathering. And it's also something I think would be, fun for you and your play group to experience. Maybe you'll like these games. Maybe it'll give you some, like I said, some respite from Magic and a little bit of distraction from everything that's going on. These are all great games. I don't think any of them are going anywhere. I don't think any of them are going to die anytime soon, especially like Pokemon. Flesh and Blood's doing great. They found their little niche now. I'm actually very, very happy about Flesh and Blood on their recent decisions. They've been able to go to kind of recoup back from the overprinting COVID era, and really where speculation was just absolutely killing this game. And then speculators then redumped everything back on. There's some shady vendors too that were holding prices high, or holding a back product, which then led to reprints that then led to them dumping it, which killed the game for a while. But I think they've actually found a good, nice little balance for Flesh and Blood again. So this is a very complex game, though. I really enjoy Flesh and Blood. I think it's enough different from Magic that if you're a Magic player, you'll be able to see enough similarities and see, okay, this game could be for me. But it's enough. There's enough differences with Flesh and Blood that you don't feel like you're just playing a knockoff game. Metazoo, can't really say that as much. This is just like a Magic the Gathering flavor, because it's very similar with attacking and blocking and playing lands and things like that. But it does have its own unique little nuances and ins and outs that I think is fun to explore. Like, I wouldn't get heavy into Metazoo if I were to choose with these games. Like, if I were to go a 1, 2, 3, Metazoo's fun to play, kind of like a board game. Play it every now and again, maybe collect if you think the cards are cute or whatnot, but I wouldn't really get into Metazoo. Pokemon's a great break. I like to play it like once a week, and I mean, it hits that nostalgia. This is a way to actually maximize how many cards you use by just playing this limited environment. But yeah, this one's good. But if I were to choose an alternate game to Magic, absolutely would be Flesh and Blood. I don't think Flesh and Blood is ever going to get there to where Magic was, but I do like this game a lot. So I've rambled on for quite some time in this video, and I know a lot of it was just you looking at my playmat and whatnot, but I don't know. I'm thinking about doing more of these type of videos, maybe I'll do them Rudy style, where you actually see my ugly face, and I just talk about a topic, and I don't know, kind of just share my thoughts, experience, and life with everyone, kind of off the cuff, not really planning on really editing these things like crazy, just whatever spouts out of my mouth is what you get to hear. So appreciate everyone for sticking around. I appreciate everyone that has become patrons. I think that this is just a way we have to all start tightening our belt, hunker down, kind of help each other out, and see if we can keep gaming alive during these tumultuous times with companies just being super, super greedy and just out of touch with their player base. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this video, and looking forward to serve you if you are interested in becoming a patron. Patreon.com/roguedeckbuilder. Love to have you. It's a great service. I hope I can win your trust, your loyalty, and serve you for the next few years for all of your gaming needs. Kevin with Rogue Deck Builder. Thanks for watching.